Okay, it's been 6 months since I bought my 3520C Centennial model, and I thought, now that I've had 6 months of experience, I thought I'd go through and hit the highlights of the things that I really like and other things not so much. Spoiler alert, I still love this lathe. I think it's a great lathe. So the one item, and I'm highlighting the things that are different than the predecessor model, the B model, which I had installed. This hadn't changed, but I just love this knockout bar, this sliding weight hammer. It is just terrific. And you compare that with cheesy kinds of ones with small knobs, like this tiny little knob that came on my Laguna mini lathe. But you can always turn a larger knob and thread it and fit it on your lathe. But I love that knockout bar. I guess one of the things I like the best, and one of the things that prompted me to upgrade was the better Banjo that pinches. Loosen this up. That pinches the tool rest post and holds it really snug. It clamps down and really holds it snug. Doesn't mar it up like the one before, where it just had a screw that went in there and pushed against the post, and it just never held as well. I didn't want to bang on this thing with a wrench handle like some people, a tool handle like some people do. So I like this. The flip side that I don't like as much is they added 10 pounds to the Banjo. Now, as long as you spray a little WD-40, which I tend to do at the beginning of every day, you just kind of wipe it down a little bit. Then this tends not to be an issue. You know, it's a one-handed operation and smooth, but that was overkill, I think, adding that extra 10 pounds. I've never heard of anybody breaking one of these things. Another thing I really like about this one is that power shutoff in the back. There's a switch that completely disconnects power to the lathe, so this will go gray. Won't stay on all the time, and I had a tendency sometimes to leave it on. I never had a lightning strike, but it's nice to be able to disconnect it without having to unplug and plug in your lathe again. I love the Acme threads on this thing. They're much stronger, and it only takes 6 turns to go the same distance that the other model took 17 turns. So it's a whole lot faster cranking this quill in and out. It's also got a keyway in here I like, which is going to reduce the maintenance. The previous model had a pin coming in from the side, which if you did a lot of drilling and used it for a few years, you had a tendency to raise a burr on the back, where it made it very difficult to retract this or extend it until you took this out and removed that burr and put a little maintenance on it. And I don't think I'm going to have that problem with that key that they have in the back. I really like the removable control. You can move it anywhere. It's nice when you extend the headstock down here if you're using the ergonomic feature of standing at the foot of the lathe. It's easy enough on the B model to add a shutoff switch, but this is nice to also have the rheostat handy and right there. The part I miss that big old red button that was here, the mushroom, but I'd have to say this one stands proud of the on switch, and it's easy enough to just bump it with your hip. So it does work well. It's just one of those things, you know, it's hard teaching old dog new tricks. One of the things I don't like is they replaced the perfectly serviceable metal one-piece tightening handle for the Banjo with this nice fancy chrome looking one, and they use the same one on the back, which was overkill, but you know, makes it look nice. And it's the same one they use here on the tailstock, which works just fine. But this sticks up too high. The other one was shorter, and this tends to get in my way. I'm bumping into it, and a lot of times I have to remember to move it over onto the other side. Not a big deal, but I wish they'd just left well enough alone instead of trying to make it look pretty. Now, falling under the category of nits, because they changed the webbing, the good news makes it easier to sweep up underneath when I have the box that I built for my B model that I transferred over to the C model. The downside is there's less room in here. It's where I keep extra tool rest. But when I reach under there to sweep shavings or to grab this thing, I have a tendency to bump my hand against not a real sharp edge, but you know, it's not a comfortable feeling. So I miss that little extra room. That's a nit. Also falling under the nit is the new VFD drive they got, which is completely covered, doesn't have the air holes in it on the top to get dust in there. They have a blower fan which adds a few decibels. I've gotten used to it, but it is a little bit louder. Also on the motor, they've got an increased fan airflow to keep the motor cool. Both of those might have been because the extra noise I classify as a nit, not a big deal. And just a reminder, if you live in the Atlanta area or you're traveling through or visiting relatives, granddaughters, I do teach hands-on lessons in my shop. Contact information on my website. If you missed the earlier video where I did a complete, more thorough review of this lathe, you might want to click here. Y'all stay safe. Come on back here.